Welcome to Acts of Awakening, a series of heartfelt conversations about the roles that we play, the masks that we wear, and the archetypes we embody. Acts of Awakening is a play place to unpack the moments in life that call us to change roles and dissolve masks, individuating us into the next version of ourselves. Together, we will explore the perspective of the cosmic play, inspiring soulful insights and a deeper understanding of the journey of becoming. Host Suri Sawyer is a certified death doula, Reiki healer, yoga guide, ancestral medicine practitioner, and multidimensional psychic. As a walking transmission, equal parts cosmic mirror, soul whisperer, and multidimensional midwife, she embodies the energy of a lucid dream, soft yet activating, grounded yet infinite. Suri weaves shadow and light without fear. Her essence feels like plant medicine incarnate. Her presence initiates recalibration and an invitation into introspection, remembrance, and sacred revolution. Now here's your host, Suri Sawyer.
Good day, beloveds. I am Suri, and I am your beloved host. And I'm kind of clearing the space a little bit. I have felt a little ungrounded today, if I'm being real. Today on the show, we have this really amazing guest today that I'm excited about. And usually on the show, I have the opportunity to speak to my guest before I have them on, which I did not have the opportunity for this. So there's no archetype for me to talk about, except for I do think that this person is wise and a magician, among other things. However, the name of the show is Acts of Awakening. And when I named the show, it was based on the principle of archetypes and all the world is a stage. And it's also about the play and acting and pretending. So one of the things that we're going to do when we open up the show is a play, is an action, is a little bit of improv comedy. So stay tuned for me and Colin doing a little bit of improvisation and treating the world as if it really is a stage and we're just here to play. And in any given moment, our ego or our identity is a malleable concept. Also, I wanted to say to Michael Christopher, before we got on, your chop chop, Kelly, made me laugh hysterically. So thank you for that. And now I'm going to read you a little bit about our guest today. You guys have seen him on the Sacred Spiral Network many times. I have enjoyed many interviews with him previously, and I'm extremely honored that I get to have a live conversation with him today. So here's a little bit about Colin. Colin Walker has experienced a complete energetic shift into the light. He has encountered and embraced the light of angels and celestial beings through a profound transformation process and the realization of the emptiness of awareness. And I really hope we come back to that later because I love that concept. Colin conducts seminars, workshops, and courses on the nature of reality, cosmic consciousness, and cosmic order, including light, energy, wavelengths, frequencies, and vibrations, and the multidimensional understanding of them. He regularly hosts debates, which we will talk about later, and discussions on different spiritual topics. He teaches spiritual awareness and development classes, the workings of mediumship and the psyche, inner light of awareness, and also stillness, and meditation through mindfulness. Colin understands the pure concept of living a meaningful life, and he is committed to assisting and advancing people's spiritual awareness and development to be a vessel or a channel of light. So let us now bring on to the show our channel of light, Mr. Colin Walker.
Hi, Suri. Thank you so much. Lovely to be here.
Bienvenidos. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. That's a bit long-winded, that introduction, isn't it? The bio.
It was what was sent to me, so I just read it. I almost stopped after the first paragraph, but I thought Why not?
It's like I keep trying to say to Jennifer, cancel it out, shorten it. Anyway, lovely to be here. Thank you so much.
It's really good to have you. So let us begin with an act of awakening, which is an improv comedy game. At the same time, we're going to say a word.
Yeah.
And so I'll say 3, 2, 1, and we'll both say a word. And then you and I get a couple of seconds to quickly strategize what connects those two words. The goal of the game is to eventually arrive on the same word. And we achieve success when we arrive on the same word. However, I have felt in the past that success was achieved when we were saying the same thing. And it doesn't have to necessarily be the same word.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So take a deep breath and pull into your mind the word that you want to shout out first.
Got it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Fairies.
Space.
Spice?
Space.
Space. Fairies and space. Okay. You got a word?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Realms. Flying?
Fly.
Flying in realms. Okay.
I like this.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Astral body.
Oh, sorry, you got me.
I went too fast.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I want a word for you, don't I? What is it? Flying in realms.
Flying and realms.
Can we use 2 words or just 1?
Well, I did just use 2 words. You
Inner
could.
world.
Yeah.
Inner
What?
world.
Inner well.
Oops. Sorry. Hang on. Sorry. Aye. Oops. Are we back?
You sound good. Okay, so yours is inner well.
Weld.
Oh, hold on. I can't hear you.
Oops. Inner weld.
Okay, inner well. You might have to adjust your microphone. You're so deeply quiet.
Don't know. It's not what happened. Inner weld.
Inner world. Okay, astral body and inner world. So take a second. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Cosmic consciousness. Colin, you're so muted, my darling. Michael's in. While Colin figures this out, I'd like to say hello to Michael's in and Labyrinth Creation. Or, yeah, I think so. Every single time I have a hard time with that. One day you're going to have to tell me what it actually says. Michael, Christopher, always good to see you. Thank you, Kelly Brickle, for holding this down. Jennifer McCormick, it's good to see you. Deanna, it's great to see you as well. And are you back, Colin?
I think so. How's that?
Still pretty quiet.
Wow.
How's that? Is that any better?
That's better. That
We'll
was
stay
better.
like that.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and I don't even remember what words we left off on. Cosmic consciousness, and you didn't say anything yet.
Yeah, we said cosmic consciousness and spirit.
Do you see how we're getting really close?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, them two.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. The void.
Emptiness.
I think we did it. Should we?
We can go for that. The void and emptiness.
The void and emptiness.
What was that from? What was the first 2 words?
The first 2 words, I said fairies and you said space.
That was a quick route.
Yes.
Okay then.
Like I said, we're not going to be here till Friday. We'll figure it out. Figure it out. So I like this because I wanted to put this at the beginning of the show to kind of give us both from our subconscious the cue of what we should speak about. And it sounds like it's time for the void.
Mm.
Colin,
Oh,
how would you describe the void or emptiness?
sorry. Are we diving straight in on this one? Wow, let's go then. I like this.
Why waste time, Colin?
Yes, correct. I love it. Okay, then. So the void. Well, I'll go with its origins or the original. Well, what is deemed as the origins is the Akash, which they in Sanskrit they classed it as void, a space-like void. We can then closely match it to emptiness itself. However, when I look at the word Akash, I also go to the word ether,
Yes.
which is kind of, we have, our website is actually called Etheric Web. So as from the ether.
Mhm.
So how far do we open this up?
Well, it's interesting. So when we speak about my perception is you can't really speak about the void without speaking about everything. You
Like it.
can't really speak about emptiness unless you want to talk about everything in existence.
100%.
I also love that you mentioned the fifth element,
Did I mention the fifth element?
ether.
Oh, right. Yeah, I understand that. I was thinking, if I said the fifth element in that precise terms, right? Yeah, which is what it is.
Yeah.
So, which then leads us to fifth element. We can potentially say we're moving towards an ethereal state of being, which I firmly believe we are.
What does an ethereal sense of being look like? What would it look like for us to actually evolve into that state?
So that would take us
Yes, hold on.
to
Michael's in. Yes, plasma. It's all about plasma and ether. I love this concept, Michael's in, that how would you tell a fish it's swimming in water? Like you couldn't. They don't even
yes.
know because it's everything that they know. How do you tell humans that they're existing within the cosmic womb of plasma? Like, how can you describe everything and nothing, right? So yes, plasma and ether. So again, Colin, what does it look like as we actually shift from where we are now and into a more etheric-based human race?
Okay, so in its most basic fundamental form, we've got to, the starting point is consciousness itself, and we've got to go into that without going into a trance-like state. We've got to peel certain layers back within us, within what's around our consciousness, and what I refer to as the rings of consciousness. We've got to step into the new ring of consciousness, which then will experience awareness on a new scale. And then from that point, if we wish to perceive ethereal energy or perceive the world or existence itself in an ethereal sense, once we've stepped into that next ring of consciousness, which we know we're moving into at the moment, we're doing that, then we'll start seeing each other like we could now in this moment. I'm already doing it. I'm looking at, I know Shuri is there by name, and I can see the physical form of Shuri and everything physical there. But if I move my consciousness slightly into that next wave of consciousness or next ring of consciousness, then Shuri then appears to my mind as this beautiful shimmering subatomic particle form like light. Almost, and I don't want to go as far as saying light being, but we can safely say that I'm looking at as light being. When we can get into that point of consciousness at the center point itself at all times, then we will then see into the ethereal reality, which has always been there. It's not as if we're just discovering it. It's always been present. But the density of our own consciousness, and obviously our grasping and attachment of this earthly, what we think is a solid state of matter, which it isn't. So it's down to perception and consciousness itself.
And how we use our senses. is
Yes.
something I'm picking up on. When you spoke about that, I was like, yes, I wonder for how long the human consciousness and in the human body felt maybe shrouded from being able to sense that stuff,
Yes.
and from
Yeah.
being able to sense the multidimensional reality. It does seem to me, and I'm curious about this from your perspective, that as we have evolved as humans, we're becoming more capable of the perception of. And like you said, it's always been there, but inside the density of the human form,
Yeah.
we've been convinced for a really long time that we have sight, smell, taste, and hearing and touch. And now we're coming online with, hold on a second, I think I have multi-dimensional senses.
Yes. Yeah. Well, good point. Sorry, we can throw this in the mix if you want.
Yes,
When we're looking at ourselves as multidimensional, forget the word being for a minute, but multidimensional or whatever that is. Those what we refer to as multi dimensions, we can then say, okay, let's look at it as multifaceted.
Mm.
And each time we perceive our inner world or the outer world, we're perceiving through a specific facet of our multidimensional form. We can, and the bit what we can throw in here is each one of those facets is also a portal.
Mm-hmm.
So we, in effect, we can travel through multi portals simultaneous. Well, let's not go to the simultaneous bit at the moment, but you know, we can, if that makes sense. So we're multidimensional beings, which in effect, what we're doing is we're sensing that we are a part of that what is referred to as the whole,
Mm-hmm.
which we know is infinite. So as we expand, and we can draw back a little bit and look at the word awakening.
Mm-hmm.
In effect, what an awakening is, my understanding, is it's a expansion of the psyche. It's a psychic expansion. It means our mind is just slightly or expanded to a point, and as soon as it expands in that moment of that awakening and the psyche shifts and expands, it starts to, a door opens and we look at reality differently.
Yeah.
And then we go on the investigating journey. Oh, what is this? And any psychic expansion can come from anything. Trauma, we can say trauma based or whatever we want to say, or we've lost somebody, or we think we've lost somebody. There was never ours to own in the first place, but that type of thing. And that causes, anything can cause a psychic expansion, which means anything can cause an awakening. And that's why everybody's awakening is different from everybody else's, because their psyche is expanded slightly, and then they push. We have a tendency then to start the path of discovery and investigation and questioning, and then we really start stepping into that expansive awareness, and so on. It never stops, because that's only the next step. That's like the first step from being, I don't like using the word unconscious, from the 3D reality into the fourth. And I say it very respectful for everybody who's listening, because we struggle with defining things at the moment with language and words, terminology. So we're having to use some of the old terminology to describe the new terminology, which doesn't always kind of lock into place.
I often feel like language, hang on, I'm very echoing, and that wasn't happening before. I'm going to take a second. Okay. I don't hear it now.
Right.
It made me ponder how language is often very inadequate for being able to take the grandness. Like, I have a concept in my being that I'm holding.
Yeah.
And oftentimes the greatest hope that I have for you to understand it is to try to use the language that we share. And oftentimes the vocabulary that we have falls very short of the magnitude of the message that we are attempting to sail from my consciousness to your consciousness, right? So I feel like we are looking at the potential of getting to upgrade our own vocabulary to match where we're headed evolutionarily.
Yeah.
I just wanted to state that. And then what you were talking about brought up another question for me. So as you're talking about the psyche expanding, That's also an experience that I've had in my life, and feeling like I was existing in this sphere of consciousness.
Yeah.
Everything I knew was in here.
Yeah.
And part of the vocabulary that I would use was, it was a lot of programming. It was a lot of programming. It was a lot of ideas. It was a lot of social concepts. And the first time that I expanded outside of it, one, it was a bit scary. And two, I felt like I was going a little crazy, because
Yeah.
literally the borders of my mind were dissolving to expand to another reach of consciousness. And I've experienced that enough times now to know that I'm not going crazy. My consciousness is expanding, recalibrate, ground, and allow the new level of information to come in. And I'm curious if that's also an experience that you have had as the borders of the mind expand to the new level of consciousness, how you navigate that expansion, and or how have you navigated that expansion of the consciousness of mind?
Ah, Joey, you're coming out with some absolutely beautiful things. I love this. I absolutely love it. Sorry, I just love it. Right. So, because it's like, I mean, this is going to sound very weird to some people, but you've got to lose your mind
You do.
in order to, we can use different terms. You've got to lose your mind in order to become enlightened. But that's too much of a stretch. So let's narrow it down. So we've got to lose our mind to understand our mind. We must.
Yeah.
And so it does, the awakening aspect, as we know, it does, it's all very, what's the word I want? I don't want to say floppy, but it is, there's a floppiness to an awakening, because that shift, that immediate reaction, what's taking place, has thrown everything up into the air. And sometimes we're trying, and you know this, and many people will, we're trying to let go of the old, but at the same time, in order to feel what we think is safe, we try to hold on to some of it. And that's where we kind of, there's an intermingling, and in its basic form, we say there's an intermingling taking place between the 3D mind, or mindset, and perception and understanding, etc., including where all the conditioning and programming is, before we can kind of get comfortable into the 4D reality of our own awareness. So this is a really interesting moment, I think, for everybody when they experience that awakening, that shift of consciousness in that precise moment, because we know the fear factor kicks in, the insecurity, and yet there's bewilderment and wonder and magic happening.
Yeah.
So until the dust settles, so to speak, and it's interesting because I was writing the other day, and I think the most important thing, you know, there's always this: what's the most important thing with this? What's the most important thing? What do you consider this, etc. And I was looking at an awakening. What's the most important thing of when an awakening takes place? And yes, we can, you know, use different. We can write different lists. You know, I've got a list of five things of awakening, 10, whatever. But then meditation really is the key to it, because meditation is the thing what will keep us aligned, well balanced. It'll protect our mind, etc., etc. And yet, you know, nobody knows to meditate immediately after an awakening. You know, it's like,
I don't need to meditate.
that one, old chestnut. Yeah. Yeah. I'm doing fine. I don't need it. Okay, keep going.
Proceed, I guess.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah. I'd like to acknowledge Jennifer McCormick. She says, human, light manifested. Marcus says, lose your mind to find yourself. Agree. And then my neighbor across the street over there, she's been on the show. She says the amnesia meditation will take you there. My friend does this really beautiful meditation where she guides you into forgetting everything, like going back to the point before birth, where you have no gender, no name, no nothing, and puts people in this kind of floaty zero point. And then when you come out, you're like, well, if none of that stuff was there, like, who are you? So I agree with this. And then I find it hard to let go and relinquish control, says Benno of Oz, 1975. And Benno, let me put that in a bookmark for a second. Jennifer McCormick, you've got to lose your mind to find yourself. Ain't that the truth, Jennifer McCormick?
Hi,
It
Jennifer.
makes me think, let it go, let it
Yes,
go.
all of it. It's like when we go to emptiness, you know, we can and I've got plans to do this. I've got a nice, well, what I think is nice wording for a t-shirt, which is empty yourself and don't fill up anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because my understanding of everything is there's always this next thing, this next stage to get to. I've got to get to that stage. I've got to get to that stage. Whether it's healing, mediumship, channeling, all the different, and I absolutely love what's going on the planet with everything, spiritually speaking, with everybody. And yet, we've just got to become still for a moment and go, you know what, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever writing's in front of me, if it feels intuitively correct, then I'll go for it. If it doesn't, I'm just going to leave it. I think we have a tendency to beat ourselves up far too much and put ourselves under far too much pressure, even in the spiritual space.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of the old conditioning from the programming, because we bring so much from the 3D into the 4D space. And I really think this 4D space at the moment, we can come to the 5th and the rest of them later, but in this 4D space is where the settling is taking place. The kind of, we're dissolving the old properly and we're letting everything, the new, settle. And really what we're doing is we're emptying ourselves, and we just don't need to put anything in there. We need to keep throwing everything out in the form of, you know, transforming the old energy, because that's what we are. We're transformers. So thoughts and emotions, draw them into our light and let our light transform them, and just sit there in the emptiness of space. And that's the most precious guide for us, because we have a tendency to go chasing down all these spiritual paths, and spiritual beings and spiritual guides are just trying to go, it's okay, guys, everything's okay. You don't need to worry about nothing. Just keep your mind empty, because in that emptiness is where the expanse of infinity is present in any given moment. You'll have to stop me, sorry, because I'll just keep going off on all these routes.
Okay, I have a thought on what you were saying. Hang on, there's a funny echo, so hold on. Here we go. When you're speaking about the emptiness, I'm imagining also that is the space from which you channel.
Yeah.
And emptying out the self so that you can connect to essentially all that is.
Yeah.
And this had me wanting to ask you the question about this paradox that, Colin, you're Colin over there, and that's your physical body, and you're localized over there, and you have a past, and you have family, and you have friends, and you have these experiences that are deeply Colin. And that's your localized being, while simultaneously you're this vast multidimensional being who is interconnected with all things. What is it like to balance your localized self as the human that you are, having this human experience, with the vastness of the emptiness that is the pure potential of all things? Huge question. But I love this from the Hermetic laws. It says all paradoxes can be reconciled. So we are simultaneously individual. I'm Suri.
Yes.
I'm over here. This is my life. These are the experiences I'm having. This is what I look like. And I have experiences as Suri, as an individual, while I'm also having experiences that feel like I'm connected to the grander cosmic oneness.
Yeah.
So when we're walking in life, what are your tips for balancing the paradox of you're simultaneously hopelessly individualized and hopelessly interconnected with everything, and both are happening simultaneously?
Brilliant. Absolutely. I'm sorry, but I love it. So there is no balance.
Sorry.
There is no balance. That's the first thing to get hold of.
There's no balance. Okay.
No, it doesn't. Balance doesn't exist, because as soon as we think we are in balance, that the very next thought is putting us out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
It's tipping that. If we look at a seesaw, and our thoughts are determining, and we're constantly shifting from one side to the other to keep that balance, and all we're doing is wasting energy. So we just need to stand in the center point and allow everything to be in any given moment. And we're using time here. I'm limited again with language again, because I don't really want to use the word time, but we have to, because we're in this density.
That's my next question.
There you go.
About
So,
time.
right. So what we're looking at with, let's say, juggling these different aspects of ourself, family, past, multidimensional, cosmic aspects, etc. When we realize emptiness, there's no need to do anything. Everything is present as we're just kind of walking through this world, in this body and all the other bodies. And in any given moment, and the more empty we are, in any given moment, that which is necessary or required or is needed will ripen into our awareness. So in effect, but that takes some doing, because it means we've really got to let go of the deepest stuff we can ever imagine in order to get to the center point of our soul, because it's the center point of our soul is where emptiness is realized. Everything around the soul is what's preventing and blocking us from realizing emptiness. That's why, as an example, why shadow work has been brought onto the planet for so many souls to do it. The letting go process, which we do. I do classes on letting, courses on letting go, etc. Purely.
Uh-oh. It seems that we have lost our divine brother there, who is speaking about there is no need for balance when you get to the core of yourself within your own being, which I really appreciate that sentiment, that just become a state of being, and then from there you'll know what to do. As he and I have been chatting, and I'm curious from the comments if anyone has any thoughts on this. Hi, me, Shelley. I have been contemplating a lot this paradigm that we speak about. Oh,
Hello.
you're back.
It's this conversation, isn't it?
It might be. It's really powerful. I feel it. And then as soon as I want to talk to you about time, like the thing shuts down, right?
Yeah.
So what I was
quickly
picking
then
up
on that last note. Yeah.
what I was
Please
picking up
do.
from what you
Sorry.
were is that
Yeah.
as you find like the center point of view and fall into that, there's no need to strive to balance something, because it just becomes the art of being what it is. And from the state of being, you can take action from the state of being.
Yeah.
But there's no need to effort toward trying to create balance when you're using meditation and awareness to come into the core of you, or the zero point of view. Is that what I'm picking up?
Yeah, very much. Yeah. The process what we're undergoing at the moment on the planet is we've got a shed somewhere in our head, and we filled it up, and we keep trying to put one last bit in and another last bit in, and we just keep, because it's not that we don't want to look at it, it's because we don't understand that we are actually transformers. When we have an experience, we can draw it towards our light, and our light transforms it, and we're no longer carrying it. There's no longer a weight or burden of it. So what we're trying to do is this journey at the moment in this 4D space, and this shift from 3D to 4, but in this 4D space is to empty ourselves, because we've filled ourselves up. And I like what you said earlier. You mentioned something earlier, sorry. It was throughout evolution, we've had these stages of evolution. And one of the things what I believe in is, if we go back to the time when humans first landed on the planet or inhabited it or whatever whatever took place. We've moved, as we've moved through evolution, we've ascended up the chakras.
Mm-hmm.
Our consciousness has shifted up the chakras. So we can say, even if we look back at caveman times, they worked off the base instinct survival consciousness, the frequencies of that area. And then we're going through the Middle Ages, etc., and coming up now into what we can say is, I don't want to say the intellectual age, but we're really now tapping into the consciousness, because now we're somewhere between the heart and the third eye and the crown. Well, and I'm saying that with a lot of flexibility, because obviously there's more chakra points above the crown. So we're using this to ascend. And what that's telling us is this is the time now to empty all those previous aspects of who we think we was.
Yeah. Child, it's time. I've been feeling that a lot. This like expansion is occurring, and it does feel like some kind of shell on the collective consciousness is like cracking.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, definitely. The shell's cracked. I actually saw the visualized form of that, I think, between 3 and 5 years ago.
Okay.
Clearly, the crack with the egg's empty. The egg now is breaking up, and people call it we're about to be born or whatever we are.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
we're
feel
coming out of that density because the shell was dense, and it was darkness inside it.
Dense.
You know.
Yeah, and it felt like it made a certain amount of blindness. And I'm not just speaking about blind in sight. I'm talking about a cosmic blindness.
Yes.
And as we have like the shell is cracked away, it's like, whoa, what is this? Okay, here's my next question. Will you, from your perspective, describe what the fourth dimension is like, and also what it has to do with time? As we move from 3D to 4D, what's happening to us with time, and what is the fourth dimension?
Okay, well, you see, like everything, it's so simple, isn't it? Okay, but we have a tendency, when we say it in its simple form, we have a tendency the mind has a tendency not to catch the simplicity of it. So, but we'll give the simplicity at the beginning. Time is a frequency. And what happens is we lower our consciousness, we dilute almost, but we lower the vibration of our consciousness. And I've got to kind of stipulate, I'm making a direct reference to consciousness, not awareness, because they're two different things. So we're lowering the frequency of our own consciousness, and then we're simulating to this wave where then we associate with time, because we've slowed ourselves down. And we know, we can say from the first, second, and third dimension, time is associated between, I would say time is of a frequency of the third dimension. And it's been pulled into the fourth, not from its own side, but from our side. We know when we meditate, even for a few minutes, time no longer appears to our mind. Why? Because we've moved our frequency back to its closer natural state, or wave, or whatever we want to call it. So time, really, what we're doing is time is just it's associated with 3D world, and we've slowed our frequency down, and that's why we attune to that frequency. And then we go, okay, this is the iota, that's first dimension. We've got a line. We can measure the distance one end to the other, that's second dimension. Then we start, go branching off to the third dimension and fourth, etc. So it's a frequency. Time is a frequency. It's and we slow it down to help us make sense of this world. That's another important aspect of it. We've slowed our frequency down in order to make sense of where we're existing in this physical body, this plane or realm of existence we're in. But as soon as we go into a meditative state, start expanding or ascending, and I suppose it's important for everybody, maybe who's listening, that we don't just expand left, right, backwards, and forwards, and we don't just ascend as we think, because this is all connected to linear. when we're meditating or we're expanding our consciousness, we're actually expanding in all directions, including the direction below us.
Yeah.
So our light is going everywhere, including what we think is the darkness. You know, we associate light, dark, because the time is still connecting. The linear aspect is there. When we talk of multidimensional, woof, forget it. Time's no longer appearing to our mind. And that's why everything appears to be slow and still and calm.
So what I'm hearing, that the third dimension is where time kind of is introduced, and it's sort of a tool for us to orient ourselves from the part of us that is pure consciousness has no association to time. But as we go down into dimensions, into the physical body, time starts to be created. And I have a proposal for you, and I'm curious about your thoughts. It's been my perception that time is actually a fourth dimensional creation, because it's the lower three chakras coming to meet the upper three chakras at the heart. And it's the bridge point that allows consciousness and the physical vessel in reality to sort of navigate.
I would go with that.
Yeah.
And that's why, I would go with that. Sorry, I think it's a really nice way of putting it, because time does overlap from the 3D to the fourth.
Yes. Okay.
And exactly. And I agree with the heart center is that middle point. Well, then what we're looking at, if we want to like trip a bit more, what we're looking at here is, and you're not doing this because we're making a reference to the 7 chakras. So we're at the point now where we can say, forget trying to find out how many chakras it is. Because when we step back to the ether and look at the void, so to speak, but specifically the ether, we know the ether can be perceived as a grid-like form with all the crisscrossing. Okay, so we do know, I know a lot of people don't know this, but we know it like on another level, that the cross point of each grid, on each grid, where each line crosses, that's the chakra, that's a chakra. So if we're talking about doing grid work or the etheric grid or the etheric body, we're then stepping into the multidimensional realm. We're stepping into the multiplication factor. So, and if we say, right, we've got 7 chakras initially, each chakra can represent a specific body or form of energy. That body or form will also have 7 chakras minimum. So the multiplication factor takes us to 7 sevens straight away, just like that, because we've got 7 bodies. And you go, okay, are we limiting ourselves to 7 bodies? No, of course we're not. If we're not going to limit ourselves to 7 chakras, we're not going to limit ourselves to 7 bodies. But what we've got to do is understand those 7 bodies. And I think we're in the process now of realizing we've got an emotional body, we've got a physical, emotional, mental body. These create forms around us. And we're clearing all that in the 4th D.
Yeah.
And at that point that's where our perception starts going into the ether and the understanding of the ethereal.
I love what you're saying around the chakras, and like we do have 7 chakras, but also we don't, right? We're limitless beings.
Yeah.
And it takes me back to the question I asked you earlier about what is this game we're playing about balancing this individualized body with the grander body. And I love what you touched on about, like, I can literally do grid work by making myself well, right? Because I'm interconnected with everything.
Yes.
And similarly, if I go and tend to the garden and treat it so beautifully, I'm not just tending to the soil and tending to the plants and making them well. I'm making myself well by doing it. There's no separation.
Yeah.
And I like this. It sounds complex, but it's actually quite simple, which is there's 7 chakras, which then each have 7 chakras, which each has 7 bodies, it's this exponential thing.
Yes.
And it sounds all complex, but the reality of it is it's so simple, especially when you go back into don't think too hard about it. I love this idea. There were 2 birds. It's a story. There are 2 birds watching a centipede crawl across the forest floor with all of its like many legs. And these birds are like, whoa, bro, how you doing that? And the centipede is like, huh? Doing what? And the birds are like coordinating all those legs. And the centipede's like, I don't know. I've never thought about it. And it starts to think about it. And now it's like falling all over the place because it no longer can necessarily coordinate all of its legs, because now it's been brought to its attention that it has all this multi-dimensional faculty.
Yes.
And I feel that's the same thing that you're touching on is, don't get caught up in what is time, what is the localized self, what is the non-localized self, talking about all the chakras. You could fill your consciousness with all of these concepts and none of it matters. Go back to the void.
Yes.
Is what I'm picking up from what you're dropping.
It's it, 100%. That's it. So you've said it. Just forget the law. What we're doing is we're holding each other's hand and guiding each other by the use of language and terminology, which, yes, belongs to that next stage of evolution where we're at the moment. But none of it's really necessary, ultimately.
Yeah.
None of it. Because we all know all this stuff. But what we're doing is we're assisting each other to get to the point of knowing that we are knowing beings. And once we reach that, once we attain that frequency of knowing, then there's no need to explain for anything, because we'll know. This is why sometimes when somebody's saying something to us, we have this feeling inside us, or thought, this powerful thought, what say, I know that. I don't know how I know it, but I know it, what you're saying to me. And what we're trying to do is empty ourselves to such a degree that we recognize that, well, we don't recognize it, we then are knowing beings. Just as a side note, if I may, this is where learning comes in. Learning, there's no such thing as learning. It's a condition, what has been imposed upon us. The learning aspect has been deliberately placed within the conscious mind of the human species to prevent them from realizing that they're actually knowing beings. Because if somebody thinks they've always got to learn, they're never going to look at the fact that they know it. So it's like we're at that we're getting very close to some absolutely stunning aspects and facets of our own being and consciousness and awareness. On
that note,
I
have a thought and a question I'd like to get your feedback on. And then Kelly, if you can remind me to come back to Amalia's message, because I would like to acknowledge what she asked about the top and bottom systems being out of balance. I have started to take on the concept that I no longer need to learn, but I want to practice skill acquisition. So this is, for example, I would desire to be a more proficient piano player. And so it's like, I know that I need to take this avatar of mine and teach it the muscle memory to do the thing that I want it to do. And I could call it learning, but I've started to realize, wait a second, I have this vessel and I'd like it to know how to knit. I'd like it to know how to play the piano. I'd like it to know how to play the ukulele. I would like it to know how to underwater basket weave. That's something I've honestly been thinking about taking on.
Love it.
It sounds like a joke, but it's real. And I realized that in order to take the energy of underwater basket weaving and to bring it through my vessel, it is going to take practice so that my physical vessel can start to take on the dexterity and gnosis of the skill to translate it into the physical reality. And so I'm curious if with learning, I completely understand that. I actually think there's so much for us to unlearn in order for us to access our intimate knowing that has already been there. And then how that translates into, okay, so you have this body, and before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. And before enlightenment, practice your skill trades. And after enlightenment, practice your skill trades.
Oh, okay. So this is where, you see, this word I'm about to use, even this is kind of void. unraveling. We're using term, we don't need to unravel, but we have this belief that we have to unravel, and we have to do this and we have to do that and we have to go there and have to go there. No, we don't need to do nothing no more in that respect. I love what you said about underwater basket weaving, because I think that's a brilliant concept. And I had this image in my mind of you sit there, you know, doing it as you were saying it. So my understanding is, once we've emptied, we attune closer to the purity of the ether.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the ether, everything is around us, all knowledge, all information, and all, we can call it knowledge and information, etc., is in the ether. Okay. So how do we then channel the ether? Well, we know the more open and empty we are, the closer we're going to vibrate. And it's not about ascending and raising our vibration. That's in there, but it's not that, you know, it's not stuck to that particular area. Simply being expanded sufficiently to sense and attune to the ether. Everything will come natural to us. We'll just know how to play the piano and instrument. We'll sit there and just get on with it. And our mind will be shocked and it'll be saying, how on earth do I know how to do this? And so as an example, once we've emptied ourselves, we can, each one on the planet has got the potential to be the most proficient scientist ever. To walk up to a chalkboard, look at this huge, you know, unanswered equation, what's been stuck there for 1,000 years, and without any mind, any thinking, just approach it and just put the answer. We are so close to getting into that realm of consciousness or awareness. So what we're doing is all the teachings, if we call them spiritual teachings, which I like the term spiritual teachings, because it kind of keeps everything quite level, and there's a sense of humbleness to that term for me particularly. So if we look at the spiritual teachings, what we're doing is utilizing them to get us to that point.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, we can say, okay, I need them because I'm calculating. The scientific part of my mind is telling me I need to analyze logically and calculate. The mathematician that's what I was looking for. The mathematician within us calculates everything.
I like mathematician though. That's
and it's like, and that's what he's doing every single moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important as well, Sherry, if I may, on this last bit, is that is to really dive deep into the understanding of energies itself.
Okay.
That's what we're after doing. Because we intellectually say, this is energy, everything's energy.
Mm-hmm.
And we've gone from, let's say, 50 years ago, not knowing that we was energetic beings, 40, 30, 20, 10 years, 5 years, and now here we are. And so many people go, right, everything's energy. And that's just a first step. It's just appearing to our awareness now. Once we step into that reality that we really are, and we're staring at each other and everything, what we're looking at on screen and the people here, time, space dissolves,
Mm-hmm.
all of it. And and when we talk about the collective or the interconnectedness, it's happening. We know it's happening right now. And we know the magical beauty of it when we sense and step into that realm, which is this is the portal, through that portal of self.
This vessel is a portal. Yeah. And based on how we are caring for it and our consciousness, we're really kind of choosing what frequency we're allowing to come through these vessels. It's powerful.
Yeah. I love what Joy was saying. Once we know, we don't rely on the mind. 100%, Joy. 100%. You know, we're getting in our own way. We're tripping ourselves up by thinking and analysing and doing the rest. But at the same time, it's required. And the other thing is like, and that's part of duality, which, duality is coming to an end. We're transcending duality, or we're in the process of transcending duality into the knowing, into the pure intuition. Intuition is a phenomenal thing, and I can't wait until we step into that completely. And going back to the language bit, sorry, what you were saying, with terminology and language, we know we're struggling to express something which is so pure.
Yeah.
And that's where telepathy is picking in. We can see as our capacity to use language to describe what's going on recedes, telepathy is beginning to take its place. So we can see all these layers coming into play as the old stuff recedes. But we're at the brink of that we're in that middle area.
Well, I'm feeling that very deeply because in certain states and with certain people, I can rely on telepathy to communicate.
Yeah.
And then I go into a different space and then I'm like, oh, I have to use words here. Like, okay.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking. So I really resonate.
Don't drop down here again.
Right? Kelly, thanks for putting this back up. So Amelia. Okay, so if we find that our top chakras are aligned, but our lowest chakras are not, how can we shift that? And what I would like to take this back into what Colin was saying, and also Joy was talking about the amnesia meditation. What if for a week you just forget you have a chakra system and you imagine that you're just one organism and that the entire organism is communicating successfully and effortlessly with itself? That's
Perfect. I would like to. I love that answer. On a lighter note, I thought we was talking like Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer Rose.
Hi, Jennifer Rose. And also, thank you for telling me I look beautiful. I'm practicing something new today, which is, I know.
She always got the knowing, Jennifer. I just want to throw something in there, mate. Sorry, Kelly, with Amelia's. Hi, Amelia. Lovely to see you. Amelia often comes on all of these chats. Amazing. So if we find our top chakras are aligned, I know what the question is anyway. So this goes back to what we was mentioning first off. Sorry. There's an aspect in there about spiritual bypassing. This is really refreshing because Amelia, even though talking about your top chakras aligning, Amelia, it's like your mind is also saying, okay, I need to deal with the lower ones, if you like, when class them as higher or lower. Now, what's happening is when we make a reference, do you want to go down this route? Sorry,
I want to be respectful to Kelly Brickle, so go down this route, and then this is what we close with.
Oof. Are you sure? Okay then.
Yes, I'm sure.
Right. So, spiritual bypassing. In a way, spiritual bypassing has got its own negative connotations. The term itself, and aspects of it, and yet, because of duality, and we're still in duality, it has obviously got positive aspects because it's like a mirror reflecting back to us. We can ask ourselves, am I bypassing something what I should be dealing with? For whatever reason I'm doing it, doesn't matter. So do we each need to look at the concept where we may be spiritually bypassing on our path at this minute? And the question is, what are those aspects? And when we look in an honest fashion at ourselves with self-analysis, self-reflection, which I always think is another role of awakening. From the very beginning, self-analysis is so important all the way through. And yet, because in self-analysis, we can lessen the temptation of spiritual bypassing from taking place and occurring. And I'll stop that.
Well, what I'm hearing is the deeper we go into self-analysis, the more we're going to spiritual bypass.
No.
Is that? No, the opposite.
The opposite. The deeper we self-analyze, the more we'll see any potential that we may be spiritually bypassing. So we'll catch it, we'll catch ourselves. So in effect, there'll be less from self-analysis. There's less spiritual bypassing.
I have so much to say about that. So I have also witnessed the opposite. So speaking of duality, when I witness other people that I know in deep self-analysis, it's almost as if they're analyzing themselves so much to the point that they can't even see themselves anymore. It's kind of like filling yourself up and not going to the empty space, right?
Yeah.
And also how we can tangle ourselves up with self-analysis to the point that we're like frozen now.
Yes.
Right? Like I'm just analyzing myself and I can't move.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like two sides of it. Depends on the like, well, where are you and what is actually best for you right now? Have you been practicing a deep non-self analysis? Well, then like go analyze yourself. Or if you talk to another person and they're like, I sit here all day and I observe and analyze myself. And it's like, honey, stop doing that and go into the void, baby.
Correct.
So I feel like there's a balance there or a dance to be had depending on which perspective you're coming from at any moment.
Discipline. I think what's happening there, sorry, is in any given moment we've got to. It's not so much discipline is too strong a word, I think, but it's in there. There's a slight energy of discipline of our own mind to say, okay, I've analysed enough on this situation or this aspect of I or me or whatever we're looking at. I'm just going to put it down, have a breathe. I'll come back to it later, and stick with the void. Because that will ripen. Yeah. I think a lot of spiritual bypassing comes from that moment, and I know we're stuck for time here, but
you got it. She said we have more time to answer it fully.
Oh, thank you so much. Because what we're searching for is clarity.
Yeah.
Because clarity is freedom, but and which gives us freedom of consciousness. But what we're searching for is clarity, and if we lacking clarity, not the best word, but if we've got sufficient clarity, then we'll notice those aspects where we may deem ourselves to be spiritually bypassing something. Mm-hmm. That one. Yeah. So really what we're talking about is clarity of awareness or clarity of consciousness. And often a lot of people, when they're doing this self-analysis one way or, what you've just described, is self-analysis is going on and on and on and on. And like you said, off you go, forget it, put it down for a minute, go to the void. With clarity, they will naturally stop themselves. There'll be a moment in what their energies will go, stop. That's it, let go. Mm-hmm. And the only reason why we can't find that, or our mind can't find that clarity, is because it emptied itself sufficiently. So there's this kind of, I'm not going to say circle, there's a spiral taking place here.
Yeah. I love the symbol of the Ouroboros.
Yeah.
The snake eating its own tail.
Yes.
Because at some point, everything is everything and everything is turning into itself. And I also feel like the Ouroboros is the symbol of duality never existed, but it was something that we were allowed to temporarily experience. But the reality is like, there's only temperature, right? And within the one nature of temperature, you can have these extremes, which we would say, oh, that's duality. But actually, no, it's not just one thing, right?
Yeah,
and
there's only oneness.
There's only oneness, right? And how fun that we get to pretend like we're all these different creatures and all of this like expansive diversity.
Oh, when you lighten this up in that respect, then you go, okay, it's a cosmic dance, guys. Let's just dance. Come on, everybody chill out, relax. And yeah, the most important thing is joy.
Me and my friend Joy would agree with you.
100%. It's like, we can beat ourselves up until the cows come home. It's like, stop doing it. Hello. Right. It's like, and especially when we're coming out of such deep, profound programming into the light of awareness, then let's shine. And, and it is infinite, no limitations. This self-imposed limitation thing is like ridiculous. Yeah. I get it. I understand it. I respect it. But it's like, forget it. Step into the space of emptiness and just feel that most profound love and joy and happiness in every single moment. Every single moment. So it looks like we've got 10 minutes left, sorry, because we could.
No, I think she said 5:15, so we actually need to close now. But this is what I want to
Oh,
close. A tiny
okay.
summary, which is this. So today, Colin and I played a game. And yes, we did basically get to the same word, which was emptiness or the void. And then based on that game, we dove into the void. And me, as Suri, did not ask any light or easy questions to answer. But we did get to dive into the reality that we don't actually live in a dualistic experience, that everything is one, but we have this dance between our realization of those things as we're coming into a new evolution and awakening in our human consciousness. How am I doing so far, Colin?
Stunning.
Great. And we also
On
discussed
every
the
level.
reality of time, and time being this really incredible tool that helps us as multidimensional beings move through this thing we call physical reality. And the last thing that I'd like to conclude with is what you said was all of life is just a dance, and that's all that's really left to do. And I have thought to myself many times and felt so deeply that there is literally nothing left to do but sing love songs to existence. There's nothing left to do but just like sit here and be like, as I dance on the spiral. Like that's all it's left to do. And anything else you want to do on top of that is an added bonus. So have fun.
Love it. Joey, absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody for joining us.
Thank you
Lots
so
of
much
love.
for watching. Thank you, Kelly, for hosting us today. Thank you, Jennifer Rose. Thank you, Jennifer McCormick. Thank you, Amelia. Thank you, Joy, for watching. Thank you, Michael Zinn. Thank you, Michael Christopher. It's always a joy. Colin, I'll have you on again soon because I would like to dive deep into the aperture of human experience. Don't worry, I'll fill you in later.
Well, the answer is yes. I'll take it up. And I'd like to invite you over. And likewise, I'd like to invite you over onto our Cosmic Lounge.
I'll
podcast.
see you there, my love. All
Yes.
right, you guys. This is Suri and Colin signing off until 2 weeks from now. Peace be
Bye,
with you.
guys. Bye. Bye. Amazing.